Hey, Sean here from SpeedCubeReview.com. I have a package from SpeedCube Shop. I know exactly what's in here. It is the GAN 354. And let's get into this and then I'll talk a little bit about it. So one thing about the 354 is that it's 54 millimeters. So that's about 2 millimeters smaller than their flagship, the SM. And for those who haven't tried different size puzzles, maybe you've only had one or the same size, it might sound like a really small amount, but it really makes a big difference holding. If you're even just talking about the full area of the puzzle, 2 millimeters smaller, I believe in this instance is like about 10% smaller of a puzzle. So it actually makes a big difference, and I like small puzzles. So let's take a look at this. So we have a really nice plastic box inside of here. We have our new GES springs. This is the version 3, and we'll talk about those. Now this is just going to be an unboxing. I'm not going to go too much into the puzzle except for some basic setup and some basic thoughts, and then I'll do a much bigger video later on. And here we have their pamphlet on how to solve it. And they have a thing about the springs down here, although this looks like it has to do more with the old springs. So they don't talk about anything new about the new ones here. So I'm going to put this aside and we'll take this out. And I can already just feel, even before turning, how much smaller this is. I have even used 50 millimeter before and thought about using that at a competition. As far as the shades are pretty straightforward. Good color is not too big of a contrast and not too dark of red or blue. Some companies are going much darker there. The green is not really fluorescent. It's more of, I guess, a grass green. And the orange isn't actually too fluorescent either. So these are almost, I would say, old school shades. Maybe a little bit brighter, but not too fluorescent. Well, it's fast. Magnet click is pretty strong. It could be a little bit stronger for my liking, but I know some people who really don't like a strong click. A couple things about the pieces. They have that honeycomb design that you saw in the SM and the 460, although it looks a little bit different. It actually looks just more pressed in and not so bumpy. But yeah, as far as size, I could see myself using this for a regular competition. I don't think it's too small. I think it's one of those things you just have to get used to. And I might make a full video about this, but people always ask, why do I like smaller puzzles, even 50 millimeter or the 57 millimeter 4x4? And the reason is it just feels kind of comfortable. I play the violin a lot, and playing notes on a violin, sometimes your fingers need to be sort of cramped up, and that's a little bit, I guess, what it could be here. But also I feel like it's easier to look around the puzzle. When it's a really small one, I feel like I don't need to turn it as much, and I can glance and see more colors more easily. But I'll do a quick solve here, and then I actually want to adjust some of the springs, and we'll talk about that. So let's do this. This is not going to be a very good solve, because again, I'm kind of looking behind the camera and nothing too crazy. I'm kind of turning too fast, honestly. What am I doing there? I don't even know. But one thing about this right now is it doesn't seem to be locking up very much. Like, corner cutting is astounding. For me though, it's a bit too loose. So I'm sure if I tighten it, it'll cut back in corner cutting. But yeah, it just seems to flow very well. So let's take a cap off. I'm going to take this top one. One thing also about the magnets is I'm wondering if they'll have different ones you could replace it with. I know when Dana Yee was showing, I think she had different versions that had different magnets inside, and she could tell the different magnets by the colors. So I'm wondering if that will be a possibility in the future. Okay. Now, I'm going to have to zoom into this in another video because this camera doesn't really do that so much. But there's different notches there. Oh, I was told there was going to be different markings on how strong each one is, but I don't really see that. And is this? So this is also green. I actually thought it was clear. So when I was talking to Ghost Cuber, he actually mentioned he wished there were some clear springs, and I was like, oh, these are clear right here, but no, these are green. It's just more embedded in there. And in here, let's open this up. So we have to he also told me about, we have to turn this. There we go. Oh, that's really nice. And okay, so like the normal colors, blue's going to be weaker, purple weaker than that, and then yellow's going to be a little bit stronger. I'm actually going to replace these right now with yellow. And let's see here, does this one work? Nope, got to use this size. And the tensioning tool is a little bit different too. It probably has the same size, but it's definitely a different tool, a little more rounded here, not rounded, what's the word? Concave. But yeah, I seriously thought I saw something that said there were different strengths just right in the springs that would be able to adjust just a small turn and have that line up. I thought I saw that, but maybe I missed it or they didn't go that route. Okay, so yeah, that's green, so I'm going to take yellow out and put a green back in there, just that way I don't lose anything. The reason I'm putting yellow in right now is I feel like it's just a bit too wobbly, and I could tighten the tensions, but I'm just going to put in some tighter springs first. And to line this up, I'm just going to line it up with the top of the screw. And you can kind of just even feel with your nail. Now I'm going to fast forward through the rest of this until I get all these springs replaced. That way this video is not too long or too boring. Okay, so I've tightened all these to about the same height, just to where that rod is at the end, and that's way too loose. So I'm going to do, well, let's say 3 turns on each side. That's a lot better, actually. I'm going to do one more half turn on each side, and then I'm going to put the cap back on. So what is new about these springs? I don't know. And the case actually doesn't hold them super well. I mean, you can kind of, once you get them all in, they kind of stay in place. But once one goes out, okay, I'm gonna close it up before they go everywhere. Okay, so it's still a little bit wobbly. I agree with Ghost Cuber. I wish there were some clear springs, something a little bit tighter than what we have. But often some heavy lube can help this. So I'm gonna put a little bit of weight, 6 in here. Just gonna put a drop on the tracks right there, and then solve it, spread it around. I know that's not the best way, you know, you want to put a little bit on multiple pieces, but that's helpful. Okay, so I'm going to do 2 solves and call it a day with this, and then do a full review later. But my initial impressions are corner cutting is fantastic. The feel is great. The colors are not super bright. So I know some people might have an issue with that, but I kind of like them. I just wish we had a little bit stronger springs. I don't think stronger magnets are necessary, just sort of stronger springs. I'll get a full review out in the next week, but definitely I could see using this at my next competition, whenever that is, because it's really comfortable. This is kind of a perfect size, I feel like. Hopefully more do that, but awesome. Okay, so leave your thoughts and questions in the comment section below. Hit like, subscribe for more content like this in the future, and as always, stop by speedcubeview.com for more news and reviews.